Hello and welcome to another Eumonics brief. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the Eumonics platform. Eumonics is enabling the next step in the evolution of knowledge, and this represents enormous value for investors, data scientists, CPG manufacturing, and much more. So I wanted to walk you through just real briefly what to expect and what you see as someone who's new to our platform and why is it valuable. So at a very high level, I'm going to walk through and talk about each of these elements on the screen that you see here. These are integrated applications with the Eumonics platform. So first we're going to talk about the idea that as someone who's new to the platform, why would you use Eumonics? Why can't I? There's so many tools out there. Why shouldn't I just use something else? Well, the answer to that is that we're different than the competitors in important ways. So we're able to create something called a trend screen, which is integral to most everything you see on this main page here. And with that trend screen, we're able to measure signal strength. In this particular session that I'm recording today, we're talking about the signal strength obviously for stock and investment information. So when you look at this, you can use things like the opportunity finder to jump in and find opportunities that look interesting. You can then use the screen library to load. We have tens of thousands of trend screens in our screen library. You can use that to go in and find that information you found in the opportunity finder that looked interesting for some reason. You can go in and find it in the screen library. Or if you just want to do your own analysis and look at a particular company, you can look at that in here as well. You can also talk and analyze the Ppcc of the S&P 500, the market Ppcc as it were. And you can also subscribe to and download reports, daily reports that are done with just chock full of valuable data. So I'll run through these in a second, just real briefly, high level, but I want to talk about a few of these other things and explain why they're important as well. So I mentioned a minute ago that trend screens are absolutely, essential to everything we're doing, and they're part of most of what you see here. Now, in particular, trend maps are add even more value. So if you go in, and we'll look at a particular trend screen. I'll click on one over here. So we're looking at a trend map right now of several companies that were added to a trend map that was named tech. So they're obviously tech companies. So each of these in this trend map represent a trend screen. So if you go on the trend screen and you look at it, the trend screen itself, this particular one has a positive outcome accuracy of 85%. That's the signal strength, is 85%. Now you can tweak various features on your trend screen that affect the target and give you a higher signal strength if possible. Sometimes you can and sometimes you can't depending on the features you're using, but normally you can. And in this case, and again, this is the type of differentiation that makes us so not only different but valuable to people that are interested in analyzing and predicting and looking for market signals. So here for Microsoft, we start out by adding Microsoft as the target, and we have the close listed as the target. But then we add something else. We had features. We had Microsoft, and we put features in here. And we're using these features and I won't get into the specifics right now because we have separate videos on this, but we're using these features to help improve the signal strength. So by adding these features and putting in these values, you're able to improve the signal strength, and then thereby over here, looking at your objective filter, which is your goal for what you're trying to do. In this case, it's set to 1% greater than 1. So we're trying to find something where it's greater than 1% at the end of the month. So Microsoft, let's take a look at the open here. I'll add open. These are different trends I'm adding. So I've added open here. And if you look at open, it started at 3:30 at the beginning of the month. Right now, we haven't tweaked this. We should tweak it some more. But right now, it's looking like, given that we have a red circle here, that this would not meet this objective. So if you're trying to invest on something like options trading or something like that, you probably don't want to bet that this is going to go up by 1% over the period of that month. And again, that's a very simplistic explanation, but just for a high-level explanation of what you're trying to do, that's one way to do that. And again, you can tweak these features or add new features and tweak them to bring this up to 100. And it may actually give you a different set of circumstances where this becomes a more valuable, potentially valuable investment opportunity. So if we go back, however, to the trend screen, now that we've looked at this, so the trend screen is important because if you pick, now remember those features we showed you, right? So those features are used the same way across all of these trend screens. And the reason for a trend map is to compare and contrast using the same features across like-minded or similar stocks, and looking for that, or looking for stocks that maybe aren't similar but have similarities in signal strength based on those features that are used. So if you're looking in here, you might say, and I'm not going to explain what's over here on the right. I'm just going to give you some hypotheticals. But let's say you come in and say, wow, Microsoft looks like a really great investment opportunity. It met my objective filter, 1% and all that, right? But you may look at, 9 other stocks that use the same criteria that all say, no, bad. And so you can look at that and you use a trend map to help further your analysis of what represents a good investment opportunity and what doesn't. So so that's trend maps. Very, very valuable and something that no one else is doing right now. And even when you dig down into the trend events, as I showed you, and we looked at those features, those are the ability to add those features, and there are lots of features. We have over 120 of them. That makes us very unique in the marketplace. And then you can go through and look at things, like, as I said, you can look at Trend Analyzer. It allows you to analyze certain trends. So if we want to look at analog devices and analyze the trends between put option yields and call option yields, you can come in here and look at various time frames. You see down here in the bottom, put option yields are purple and call option yields are green. And if you click the eye, you can make one disappear and the other stay, type of thing. Or you can change the positions, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, just depending on how many you have in here and how you want it to display. But this shows you valuable data. In every chart you go in, whether it's the Trend Analyzer, the Ppcc difference, or any of those, anything that has charts, you can then go in and deep dive and analyze a smaller time period by just doing a drag and drop. And it's extremely valuable being able to do that. So Trend Analyzer, again, more value. And again, all based on the unique trend event that we have set up based on those features. So you're not going to see this anywhere else on the market. And that's one of the reasons that make us unique and differentiates us from everyone else. So these down here, Ppcc Analyzer, you can analyze up to 5 different. In this case, we're analyzing 5 different stocks from the S&P 500, Microsoft, Google, Apple, and Oracle. And you can either analyze one characteristic across all 4. We have 4 in this case. Or you can look at all 5 characteristics as well as things that you want to select in here. If you wanted to add software volatility, for instance, you could do that. Or you can measure all of these against one at a time and look at those. And both represent valuable investment data. And again, you can easily deep dive into this to look at spikes in data to see what's going on. Like here looks kind of interesting. And right here looks very interesting. So again, as someone who is interested in investment and investment opportunities, this represents a lot of value. And the Ppcc difference, without going into a lot of detail, is basically the difference between 2 different stocks. So you can measure it by way of showing difference through Apple, through Advanced Auto Parts, and then you can also look at and add various things like price and call option rates as a difference between the two. So extremely valuable for the same reason, and you can also select and zoom in on data there. And our reports here, reports that represent daily value that come out. You can subscribe and get them an email sent every day, or you can come into the platform and you can look at your different reports. And we're just in December 1st now, so if you go back to November, you see all these reports that you can subscribe to. Or if you don't want to subscribe, you just want to come in here and click any of these and download them and look at them. Give you a complete daily picture of the call option rate movers, and the daily top and bottom for call option rates, and so on. So I think to wrap up this high level discussion, the Financial Signal Center, the heart and of Eumonics platform, represents so much value in how you can create trend screens and then analyze them in numerous ways, and track. You can analyze, track. You can add different features up to 120 that aren't present on other competitors that we don't have anything like this. And so it represents a huge value for people. And I just want to thank you for checking it out, and please reach out if you have questions.